was a severe downturn, and many people get out of the system, and all the mortgage and loans were very difficult to obtain from the banking system. This was a loss of confidence because of the credit rating of the funding and the mortgage in the banking system. Many financial products were overrated, so many people had invested in this kind of financial products, and it was the moment when all the banking system in the United States go down. So this is a global liquidity crisis that affect in the first moment to the United States, but all these financial funds were globally spread out in other countries. So this is a map of how in this moment of the history, from 28 to 2013 maybe, the GDP growth was in many countries negative. As you can see, in the United States, Europe, Russia, and only countries that are growing are from Africa and South America, and also from Australia, maybe, and China, of course. So the rest of the countries were in a great recession. In how this affected to the EU countries, the negative rates of growing began in 29, and it was a debt crisis, because the crisis began in the United States because of this loss of confidence, but then we have a severe problem in terms of public debt. Many countries in the EU had a big debt in public. All the services paid by the national at national level were become in a eurozone crisis. As you can see, most of the countries, more or less more affected the Mediterranean area, like Greece, Portugal, Italy, also us, Spain, was very affected because we have a great amount of sovereign debt. These effects of the European debt crisis, you can see some of them. In several countries, private debts rising from the property bubble. Also, the structure of the eurozone as a currency, we have only one coin in the EU, but we don't have a tax system. That is a weakness for the European zone. We don't have rules for every country at the same time. We have different tax rules in every country, and this is a weakness in terms of tackle this kind of crisis. So the European banks were in a great trouble, because they were asking for money for the central bank and giving this money one bank to each other, but the system was blocked. So this was two factors where the crisis were so indeed the financial crisis and also the sovereign debt crisis. You can see here a I have taken only the data from Spain from 2011 to 2019, and this is the market risk premium. This is the average, the rate that one bank from one country paid to another bank from another country. So it's a rate that if your country hasn't got the confidence of the investors, you have to pay more money, more interest for asking for money. So this is more or less a big problem here in Spain, also in Italy, in Greece, and in Portugal. Was a very because the financial system and business were not able to obtain credit from the banking system because it was too expensive for them. So what did the EU to tackle this crisis? These are some of the measures that they take from 2008 till the end of the crisis, because maybe we are still in the crisis, but the hard part of the crisis, that is these 5 years, the Council supports a common plan against the credit crisis to promote a debate to reform the financial system. The way that banks ask for money to the central bank and the rates that they pay for this money. Also a recovery plan of 200 million euros, the 1.5 community GDP of all the EU. The bailing of Greek, because Greek was one of the government's most in crisis. So there was an urgent plan to reform all the financial sector to prevent society from paying the expenses of banking. In 2010, the European Council approves a mechanism to aid Greece and defends the Eurozone, because in this moment the euro was in danger. They were very close to get out from the euro, and then in 2011 they approved, the European Commission approved an Europact, a European Stability Mechanism, with a capital of 700,000 million euros, so much money, to help Greece and also other countries like Portugal, Italy, and Spain. So this is there was an extraordinary summit in which there was a second bailout for Greece, because it was the country more in danger of going out from the euro. And then the last that I mentioned here, there are a lot of more measures that you have made, but this is one of the most important. The treaty that establishes a budget pact to limit the annual structural deficit, because the deficit, the public debt, as I told you, is one of the biggest problems of many countries in the Eurozone. So how many people in the EU plan to tackle this problem in the future? Having a centralized fiscal capacity, having the same rules of taxes and fiscal capacity to have decisions where they can limit the amount of debt, and they plan to have this kind of centralized fiscal capacity with unanimity. This is something especially difficult because all the countries have to do the same now. In this context, there were they articulate rescue packages for, as I said you, for Greek, Irish, and Portuguese government, and a credit line. It was also a rescue to Spain because Spanish banks were in a big crisis. There are in Spanish we know this as bancarización. There were a lot of fusions. Merges. Many banks merged because they were very weak. They were not able to sustain the activity alone, so they merged with another more bigger, and it was a success from the EU, the intergovernmental cooperation to tackle this crisis. So as I said you, this centralized fiscal capacity can prevent repeat fiscal weakness in the future. I don't know if the EU is going to achieve this goal because it's very difficult to do the same fiscal rules in all the European countries, but I think this is a good solution to prevent the repeat this kind of crisis in the near future, because we are not in Spain, but in all other countries like Germany, they are beginning with a little economical recession. So, as we are all connected in the European Union, this could affect to all the countries in the Eurozone. So, in Spain, there was also another kind of measure, not from the European Commission. Yes, they recommend doing this. Is the expenditure rationalization, that is some rules to maintain levels of debt impossible to assume in the public bodies. So local and regional entities have limited amount of money and limited rates of debt to not to have the same problems, so they have this amount of debt limited. So this is only just to finish the perception of about economy in Spain. As you can see, in the last months of the last year, there are no more data about the last months, but this statistic shows the perception of general economic situation within Spain in the last months of 2018, and the situation for the people is deteriorated in comparison to the previous months. So the people in the street can feel that the situation, we have already gone from the situation of crisis, but maybe we are in danger nowadays. If you have no? The future is that Germany, as you know, is going to be in recession if they continue the same way, and is the engine of economic in Europe. So if they go into recession, all the countries surrounding the Eurozone is going to have problems in terms of in the economical situation. So we have to do something, maybe as a centralized fiscal capacity to tackle this problem.
So we all go down? You say we all go down? Yeah. Somehow?
could be possible because we all follow the same. We have we have the same financial rules, but we don't have the same taxes rules. So this is a problem because sometimes when you want to act in financial problems, you can destroy the taxes the taxes in your country. You have to raise the taxes, and this is less money in the pocket of people. So all the people have problems to pay the loan, or maybe so we can start to get into recession because the unemployment is something that is like a chain. Mm-hmm. If we start with the problem of level of cash that we have in our pockets, we can make that all the companies have to fire people. The employment has.
You didn't present graphics from Romania. You do not have studies or.
I was looking for other countries, but I know very much Spanish economy. So it was difficult for me to compare the situation just with figures. It's difficult for me. But with Spain, I have been all this period in the crisis not looking at the news, reading books and so on. So for me it's easier to explain the situation that is similar for other countries like Greece, like Portugal, like Italy. It's almost the same.